Thank you, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. Good news, I'm the last one between you and lunch. Sure. Wow. Panorama of the room. So today's presentation consists of 3 parts. First is the target audience. Second, the teaching objectives. And third, the actual teaching plan. So now, target audience. My students are second-year non-English majors from a variety of academic backgrounds. They share similar needs to improve their English proficiency. Second, teaching objectives. The first one is to comprehend the text and understand the contents. And the second one is to grasp the techniques the writer has used in the present argumentation to write a good one, so in the future they might know what kind of techniques they can make use of. And the third is to develop the autonomous learning ability. So in their future cases, when they actually have to appreciate a text or analyze a text on their own, they will know where to start. So now, the actual teaching plan. We'll start with warming up. This is a really hard article, and it's an academic one. So I would like to first check the background understanding of my students on some concepts like artificial intelligence. And there are 4 people that the writer has quoted in this article, like Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, Steven Pinker, and Isaac Asimov. They will have to surf online for the background information for these scientists to have an understanding of what this article is about. My students are really shy. They avoid eye contact with me whenever a pop-up question. So the task are used at this stage is called snowballing effect. Basically, they have to memorize and repeat the contents of the previous students before going on to give one of their own. So the later they stand up, the more they have to say. So this will encourage them to stand up and speak out their opinion. So now, let's look at the main idea of the text. This text is the optimistic view of the writer. So it started by posing a threat of AI and quoting 2 people coming from academics and commercial world like Hawking and Musk. He spread a picture of anonymous picture and a concern on the AI and this problem it might have on human society. And from the 2nd to the 4th paragraph, he reviewed the human history, tell us one thing, well, there's no need to panic. We already have different kind of problems in our lives. It's not the first time. And then he justified the use of AI in society. Start from the 4th paragraph, tell us one thing, well, AI does have some benefits. For example, it decreased the rate of death, the use of violence, and the spread of information. So, start from paragraph 5 to paragraph 8, he shared with us some of the possible strategies that we can actually use to take artificial intelligence in control. And these strategies, it's very interesting to see that this author has used our existing knowledge of biotechnology to compare us to something totally new, like AI. So, from the start of the 5th paragraph, he said that, well, at the start of biotechnology, everyone was panicked, but we had something to take it under control. We have guidelines. And these guidelines were like, define the mission of the AI, build safeguards, and to prevent unauthorized use of AI. So if we have these guidelines, then we might be able to keep AI under control. And then he moved on to say that human beings can also do something else besides guidelines like human governance and social institutions. If we have all these preparations, there's an opportunity and there's an optimistic note that we can keep AI under control. No reason to panic. So at the last paragraph, he said that in today's world, there are lots of problems that we have to tackle, and AI plays an important role in helping us tackle these problems, and the grand challenges before us can be helped by using AI. So this article is about spreading optimistic notes. What is important for my students is to step out of their comfort zone into the shoes of writer, and to understand one thing, out of so many resources at the writer's disposal, what kind of techniques did he put into the present article to make it a convincing piece? So there are several things I want to mention to my students. First one is exemplification. The writer is pretty clever in using exact years as benchmarks when we review the history of human society and explain our future, like 1950 in paragraph 1, 20 years in paragraph 3, 2011 paragraph 4, 1975 and 39 years in paragraph 5, 1942 and 2029 in paragraph 6. So all these exact years give us an understanding that, well, the writer knows what he's writing about, and he has expert-like knowledge in this. Second is the use of short sentences. This is an writing of argumentation. Short sentences is really important because it put emphasis on the content. So, for example, in paragraph 2, he said, AI is not in the hands of 1 or 2, it's in 1 billion or 2 billion hands. In paragraph 4, he said, 3, he said, that's already the case. People are surprised by this. So by using these short sentences, it put an emphasis on what he's trying to say. And third is the contrast, the dramatic effect you create by comparing something totally different. For example, in paragraph 3, you compare the kids in Africa who has intelligent access to knowledge better than the president of the US 20 years ago. This dramatic effect gives us one idea. People nowadays have much knowledge at their disposal than before, so we have opportunities. And the fourth thing is that he used associations, like what we said before, using our existing knowledge to explain something totally new. So all through the paragraphs, he used biotechnology to compare to AI, which is a new idea. So this article is academic writing, which is really useful in our students because they have to write academic writing in their future. So one of the main features of academic writing is an exactness in language. So he has used a lot of quotations in this present paragraph. For example, in paragraph 4, he said, a book, A Better Angels of Our Nature, Why Violence Has Declined. In paragraph 5, he said, a meeting called Aziloma Conference on Recombinant DNA. And in paragraph 6, he said, a book like Roundabout. Paragraph 6 again, paper, computing machinery, and intelligence. All these academic meetings and papers give us an impression that, well, he's authority on the issue. He has academic voice. And the second thing is the academic language he has actually used in the paragraph. While we learn vocabulary, the smart thing and effective thing is to organize those words into little semantic sets, to store them into the little pigeonhole in the student's mind. So in the future, when they actually have to write such an article, they'll have greater chances to retrieve them from their mental lexicon. So they use words related to computers and math like AI, human intelligence, exponentially, technology, encrypt. For academic language words, he used like statistics, guidelines, practitioners, unauthorized, pivotal, moral imperatives. For words related to medicine, he used medical treatment, clinical practice, diagnosis, cures, and he even used one word which is common in drama, like merits. So all these words, if we organize them in little sets, then in future cases, students will be able to use that kind of word. So this is the techniques that I would like to use when I teach those words to students. And the last thing is, well, he's spreading optimism. If we use really heavy language, then people will have no faith. So he used something to soothe their spirit. Like in paragraph 6, he said that, I'm an optimistic, we have more time. So using this kind of language, and in paragraph 9, he used a little humor, like, we can help the disabled, like providing Hawking's voice. So this humorous notes give us one thing, well, he's taking his pace. And there's no need to worry about that. It's not that serious. We had that before. And the next thing is the organization of the text. He's talking about optimism. So if you look at the paragraph, we see that only in the first paragraph did he say something quite heavy. On the rest, he say, well, we had this before. Well, we can take it under control. All these things spread optimism. Students have to realize how to organize their test. And for the assignment, it's a little bit premature to ask them to write a piece on their own because this article is pretty hard. So they're going to write a summary. Have a second chance to double-check their understanding on the text, the contents. Have a second chance to have access to those vocabularies, the words and phrases, and the techniques the writer has used in the present article before to go on to write independently. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now let's hear from the judge for the questions.
Yes.
You think this article is academic, right, in style?
Yes.
But according to what I understand, academic writing style, in that kind of a style, we do not judge something. We do not evaluate something.
Yes.
We just put forward the truth,
Yes.
the facts, right? But here, he shows optimism.
Yes.
How can you explain that?
I think this article is on the bordering academic writing and argumentation. He has qualities of academic language in it, but he also writing argumentation which carry the qualities of it in trying to persuade people to believe his idea of optimism. This is my explanation to it. But my students are first year and second year students. They haven't carried on to the third year where they explore their academic knowledge. So this article is at a good time to bordering the two things together.
I think it's for language quality. I don't think it is abstract enough to be academic. For instance, here we have "it won't be the first one." So this shortened form of "won't" that is not popular in academic writing.
Yes,
so
acknowledge
how can you explain
that. Just like I said before, it's bordering between academic language and argumentation. It certainly carries the quality of argumentation.
So why do you put this forward that it is an academic writing? It's not necessary for you to say that.
Yes,
right.
I understand that.
So you can say that to kill the time, right?
I don't say that to kill the time, because my students on the stage move on to the third year of study, because this one is hard. It shouldn't appear in the first year. So they should have some sense in their mind before they move on from the common language, colloquial language, to academic language. So it's something in between. They will have the sense by now.
Okay. How would you understand this sentence, the second paragraph, the second sentence in the second paragraph? Humanity was introduced to existential risk.
So it's paragraph 2, right?
Yes.
Humanity was introduced existential risk because there have been many disasters to human beings on the history of development. We're familiar with that. That's my explanation.
How would you understand humanity was introduced to the risk?
I understand it like there has been many events in human history, so people are familiar with the idea of existential risk, like the war, like the biotechnology.
Then how would you understand the writer sit under the desk?
Oh, I was child sit under the desk. He was afraid, because it was a Civil War defense drills. I think it was protecting himself.
Defense drills.
Defense drills, I think in the 1950s, Americans were under a rather tense atmosphere. So there might be drills like military drills, and therefore they have to sit on the text. And also, during military times and wars, civilians should try to civilians should be equipped with the knowledge of how to protect themselves in the event of war. So sit on the table might be one of the possible strategies.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you understand existential risk?
Existential risk. The risk.
No, existential risk.
Oh, existential risk. The risk of survival.
Can you say more about that?
Okay.
What is the risk of survival?
The risk of survival. Every species, when they come into existence, they appear, they develop, they thrive, and they disappear. This is a cycle. So every species, ever since the start of human beings.
You can begin with the beginning of the universe. I think that's more proper. Okay. This humanity, is this humanity the cause of this risk, or the sacrifice of the
I don't think humanity is the cause of risk. I think humanity is just one of the species living in the universe.
Then how to understand these civil defense drills?
Civil defense drills, we defend each other
from
each other.
No, the risk comes from where?
The risk comes from war. Because that's right, like at least less than 1 decade after the end of Second World War. So everyone is rather tense spirit at that time. See, might be potential wars happening on American soil. So I think
These are more productive than the previous one, but it's deeper. Okay, now let's come to paragraph 8.
Yes.
The first sentence of paragraph 8. Would you please read it aloud?
Ultimately, the most important approach.
What?
Ultimately. Okay. Ultimately, the most important approach we can take to keep AI safe is to work on our human governance and social institutions.
How would you explain human governance and social institutions? Beginning from the coming out of the universe, maybe.
Okay. I wouldn't be too dramatic. The human governance is how do humans keep everything under control? Because ever since the start of our appearance, we start to conquer the nature. It was better than us before. It's even better than us now. So it will be live in harmony with them in the future.
With what?
With nature. And that's what I call governance. That's for nature. Because
we are not talking about nature here. We are talking about AI.
Oh. AI is one example in our development. It's coming from our brain, and we can control it. And the article is about keep it under control. So
keep what under control?
The AI.
Nature?
The AI under control.
Then how about social institutions?
Social institutions, I'm trying to say that they want to use strategies to keep it under control. So education and organization of different parties in this play is really important.
So you think institutions refer to organizations, right?
I think it refers to organization, education, like of different parties, like commercial sectors, government, education, and civilians, and other people in this circle.
Okay, I think you can be dismissed so that we can be...
Thank you very much.
So that we can be released.
Yes.
We can be relieved.
Enjoy the rest of the day. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.